from the betting capital of the world, giving raw and real breakdowns of mixed martial arts and recapping UFC events like no one else, with producer Martin on the ones and twos and combat sports betting expert Effie. You're listening to Any Action Sportscast. Any Action Sportscast. So put your headphones on and let's take this podcast to the next level.
This isn't a podcast. It's a sportscast.
What is up, guys? We are back. It's your boy Effie with Any Action Sportscast, here to go over UFC Vegas 93, Tatsuro Taira versus Alex Perez. This should be a very fun card with a ton of exciting fights, guys. There's like 4 or 5 fights on this card that I can't wait to see, man. It's actually a low-key, really good fight night card for the Apex. We are back in the UFC's Apex after a week at UFC Louisville, where we had another winning week, making it 4 out of the last 5 cards that we've made profit and 2 in a row. So this week, we're looking to make it 3 straight winning weeks in a row and 5 out of the last 6. So, like I said, man, there's a ton of exciting fights on this card. The very first fight of the night should be a banger. Super excited for the Garret Armfield fight versus Brady Hiestand. I'm excited for the Fugitt fight versus Josh Quinlan, Tagir versus Joshua Van. And the main event as well, man. This card is actually really, really good. And man, there's a lot of money lines that I disagree with on this card. We'll talk about it in the video, but I gotta say, man, there's a few big favorites that I just don't think should be that big of a favorite. So without any further ado, let's get right into the fights. In the very first fight of the night, we have a banger in the featherweight division between Melquizal Costa and Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. The Brazilian Costa comes in with a 20-7 record, currently minus 195 on the money line, while Shayilan Nuerdanbieke comes in with a 39-11 record, currently plus 165. Let me start with the Shayilan Nuerdanbieke side. 39-11, absolutely crazy amount of experience, right? 50 professional fights at 30 years old. Something's not adding up. But on one hand, man, it's like, dude, you have 50 professional fights. Like, we know what we're going to get from Shayilan at this point. He's a finished product. He's 30 years old. I really don't see any more improvement from him. And he's a wrestler, right? So he's going to want to shoot in on Costa. He's going to want to lock his hands on Costa and pin this guy down, right? So if he stays at range, I think he's going to get picked apart by Costa. Shayilan has that windshield wiper stance at high guard. His hands sway. And he rocked Steve Garcia in his last fight. In like the first 40 seconds of the fight, it was actually kind of crazy. He hurt Steve Garcia bad, right? He goes in for the finish. He's grounding and pounding. And then sure enough, Steve Garcia is able to get the feet to the hips, buck him off, and get at range again. And then Shayilan just fell off a cliff, man. That's one thing we got to say about this guy. I do question his cardio. I do think that Shayilan looks like $1 million for the first 5 minutes of every fight. And then from there, after that first round, I just don't think he's the same fighter, man. His hands get lower. He's easier to hit on the feet. And those takedowns are harder to secure when you're getting tired, man. But this guy is a brick shit house, guys. This guy is stacked. You're going to see this guy's physique when he weighs in, when he's in the fight. You're going to be like, oh my God, this dude's definitely on the juice. So on the other side, Costa definitely knows he can't, get out-wrestled in this fight. Even if he loses that first round, I expect Costa to win that second and third round. My best bet or best pick you could say for this fight is Costa round 3, man. I think that Shayilan probably has a high chance of winning that first round. But as the fight goes, I really trust Costa to pick him apart. One thing I really like about Costa is he likes to work the body. And to me, man, that's just a small investment every time you hit a guy in the body, because that gets him tired as the fight goes on. And then someone in Shayilan Nuerdanbieke who gets his hands lower as the fight goes, I really think that's going to hurt him. Shayilan definitely needs to wrestle in this fight. He desperately needs to get down Costa, because at range, I just don't think he has a shot to win this fight. I'm going with Costa to win this fight. I'm going with him to win a decision in this fight. But at minus 200, man, we're approaching a little bit too wide. Like, that's a lot to be asking out of a guy to not get wrestled here. And we know Shayilan can crack, man. Like we saw in his last fight. Steve Garcia absolutely cracked him in the very first 30 seconds of that fight. It was actually kind of crazy. And yeah, man, he ended up gassing out, got finished in that second round. Both these guys coming off losing to the same guy, Steve Garcia. Both of them got knocked out. Actually, kind of crazy. I don't recall ever seeing that really in the UFC. But yeah, man, give me the younger guy here, Costa. I do like his striking. Like I said, he can switch stances. He can a lot of front kicks, a lot of teep kicks, really work that body, really drain that gas tank from Shayilan. If he gets those down blocks, keep his feet upright, I really do like him at range here. So give me Costa to win this fight. I can see the case for Shayilan because he does have a path at wrestling. His entries are fast, guys. Like if he locks his hands on Costa and gets him down, I feel like Costa's going to be getting rode for the whole round. So he just can't afford to lose that second round, Costa that is. So I do kind of expect him to lose that first round and then build as the fight goes, because I expect Shayilan to teeter off as it goes. So yeah, man, give me Costa, the young guy in this fight, to win a decision or get a third round finish. Then up next is a close fight, in my opinion. We have a women's strawweight fight between Josefine Knuttson and Julian Polastri. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but Yeah, man, Josefine Knuttson comes in as a pretty big favorite, minus 190, undefeated at 7-0. And she's fighting Julia, who comes in with a 12-3 record, currently plus 160. So, I feel like the consensus with this fight is that Knuttson's going to win this fight based off her striking, and I actually like Julia's striking, man. She's going to be going forward, pushing the pace, whereas Josefine strikes me as a fighter that's more of a sniper, right? She likes to really pick her shots, but in my opinion, that can lead to a little bit lower output, right? Like, you never want to be the fighter or picking the fighter or betting on the fighter that's going to throw less than the opponent, because if you go forward and the other person's throwing more shots, it's just going to optimally look better for the judges, and we know, guys, that these judges are all over the place. We are back in the Apex, which does make me feel good, because I feel like when we go to the regional shows, like, not regional, but like outside of the UFC, outside of Vegas, like Louisville, places like that, we get to see a little bit of questionable judging, in my opinion. Whereas this fight, I don't see minus 190. I don't see Knuttson being minus 190 in this fight. I feel like it's going to go all 3 rounds. In a fight that I think is going to go all 3 rounds, I don't think either fighter is going to get finished. I know it's going to be in the judges' hands. And it's like, okay, how does Knuttson separate herself in this fight? And I don't think that she's going to be separating herself all that much. I think that she's going to win the fight. I think that she is a better technical striker in this fight. Like I said, she's a very accurate, kind of more of a sniper type fighter. But man, I have a feeling she's going to be fighting off the back foot in this fight. And to me, it kind of comes down to who's going to win the clinch. I say it all the time with women's MMA, those clinch position battles really matter, because if you're able to reverse someone and be the one striking, whereas it's the one holding, working those underhooks, like, it just looks way better for the judges. So I actually do like Josefine more in the clinch in this fight. In that range, it's going to be close. Like I said, Julia is not that bad of a striker, man. I do think, though, that she's going to give Knuttson the type of fight that she wants, which is going to be a 50-minute striking fight. And so I got to go with Josefine Knuttson. She's out there in Sweden training in the camp with Hans Chimaev. But I don't really expect her to get mauled if she does get taken down. I actually expect her to have some pretty good defensive grappling here and work her way up. But, man, minus 190, like, we're kind of expecting her to style on Julia, and I don't really think that's going to happen. So give me Josefine Knuttson to win this fight via decision. But again, I do not feel safe laying minus 190, minus 200, or in a parlay or straight. So, yeah, man, give me Knuttson. I'm sure her decision prop is a way better line than that minus 190. So give me the over. Give me the fight goes to decision, all that stuff. But we're leaving it in the hands of the judges, guys. You got to be careful. Give me Josefine Knuttson to win that fight via decision. And in this fight, we're definitely not going to need the judges whatsoever. We have a featherweight fight between Jeka Saragih and Westin Wilson. Jeka Saragih comes in with a 14-3 record, currently minus 380 on the money line. Huge favorite. We have Westin Wilson on the other side coming in with a 16-9 record, currently plus 280. Huge underdog here. First of all, Westin Wilson's going to be the bigger guy, man. 6'1" versus a 5'8" guy. He's going to have a huge height advantage and huge reach advantage in this fight, but it don't really matter because he's going to get slept in that first round. If Jeka Saragih loses this fight, guys, he is banished, bro. Cut him from the UFC. Get him out of here. This is terrible. He could not lose this fight. Westin Wilson gets hit all over the place, has no striking defense, but man, I feel terrible for this guy. This guy has, had 2 fights in the UFC, right? And they're both against killers, man. This dude's average line on the money line in the UFC has to be around minus 300, minus 400, plus 300, plus 400, because he's a huge underdog in every single one of these fights, man. He is getting smoked in every single one of his fights. He's getting knocked out, put out early in all of these fights because he has no striking defense and no chin. He's a very submission heavy fighter. Like, he relies so much on getting submissions that if he doesn't get those submissions, man, he's gonna get rocked. I can't believe I'm talking this long about this fight because this is going to be one-way traffic. Jeka Saragih will win this fight in that first round. If he doesn't win this fight in that first round, if he wins in the second round, to me, that's still a bad performance because he has to go out there and absolutely knock Westin Wilson's head off in that first round, man. So Jeka Saragih obviously lost in the UFC as a huge favorite before. If he does it again, man, he is banished. Send him to the PFL, send him to Bellator or wherever. Man, Jeka Saragih has to finish Westin Wilson in this first round, and I think that he's going to, man. I feel terrible for Westin. He's gotten 3 straight killers now. I don't know why they're doing him this dirty, but yeah, man. Westin Wilson, submission or bust. If he doesn't get that submission, he's going to lose. He's going to get knocked out. Give me Jeka Saragih to win that fight via first round knockout. Another interesting fight, in my opinion, we have a women's flyweight fight between Cardi, Judice, and Gabriella Fernandes, I should say. Yeah, man, Cardi comes in at plus 130. She's 3-1 as a professional MMA fighter. Kind of crazy she's in the UFC. She's fighting Gabiella Fernades, who's 8-3 as a pro and is at minus 155. Now, this line is crashing like crazy. Earlier in the week, I saw Gabiella around minus 185, minus 190, and here we are at minus 155. So a lot of money coming in on Cardi. A lot of people thinking that she's going to win this fight, laying her on those odds. And, man, I got to disagree. I'm going with the favorite here, but I mean, I'm happy. At minus 155, that's more respectable. That's more realistic to how the fight's going to play out than minus 200, minus 195, in my opinion. That's a little bit too wide because, for one, I don't foresee Gabiella getting taken down by Carly. The thing with Gabiella is that she can be taken down easily and she can get pinned. She doesn't have the best get-up game, and she tends to lose rounds if she does get taken down throughout the round, right? So, like, it's not like she's working off her back. She's not active enough, in my opinion. But that's not how Carly fights. Carly is a striker. She's going to want going forward and strike in this fight, and that's where I worry, man. I worry, just like the other women's MMA fight, that Carly is going to give Gabiella the fight that she wants. So it's tough. You know, we just saw last week, guys, three women's MMA fights all went to the underdog, like three straight underdogs won in the women's MMA fights. So, yeah, I don't really see Gabiella separating herself as much, you know, as I would like in this fight. I do think that she's a better striker with way more power than Carly, and I just haven't seen enough of her fights, honestly, Carly, that is, to really have a strong opinion, because the fighters that she's beating, don't get me wrong, like, I respect all these fighters, but they just don't look that good. Her level of competition outside the UFC hasn't been that good. Man, this is a complete pass for me. I do understand why that line came in. Like, at minus 190, I just did not see it for Gabiella. At minus 55, minus 150, that's a little bit more realistic, like I said. But I do think that Carly is going to give her the type of fight Gabiella wants. Like, the last thing Gabiella wants to do is defend takedowns in this fight, and I don't think that Carly is going to do that. I think that she's going to strike at range and really make this a war, man. I think that Carly is going to be the one going forward. I'm interested to see who takes the center of the octagon in this fight, who's going to be the one fighting off their back foot, because whoever that is probably going to lose. So this is actually a pretty good women's MMA fight. Like, it's not going to be like a boring fight. I think it's going to be a pitter-patter striking fight for 15 minutes. So give me Gabiella to win that fight. I definitely don't feel confident. I'm not laying anything on this fight. Maybe fight goes the distance, if anything. But, man, we're leaving it again in the hands of the judges, and that's a risk, man. So give me Gabiella to win that fight via decision. Oh, yes. Up next, we have a banger in the welterweight division. Loser leaves town type fight. We have Josh Quinlan taking on Adam Fugitt. Josh Quinlan comes in with a 6-2 record, currently minus 125 on the money line, while Adam Fugitt comes in with a 9-4 record, currently plus 105 on the money line. So this was a pick 'em earlier in the week, and a little bit of money now coming in on Josh. And I get it, man. He's a young guy, quicker guy in this fight. But the thing you guys got to know about Josh Quinlan, man, is this guy's gotten popped for steroids, right? This guy's got popped for PEDs, not once, but twice. So that's a terrible look. Like, a straight cheater, man. Like, screw this guy. Like, that gym in general was always getting caught, you know. Don't want to say anything bad about him, but, like, it's a little suspicious to me. But the guy that's on steroids, Josh Quinlan, has crazy power, right? Very fast, good speed, crazy physique, and can crack. But when you took him off, man, he's getting absolutely obliterated. In that last fight against Danny Barlow, he got knocked down like 5,000 times. It was crazy. Took a lot of damage, right? So Josh Quinlan's coming off getting viciously KO'd in his last fight. But that guy that beat him probably beats Adam Fugitt as well. On the other side, we have Adam Fugitt, 9-4. Like I said earlier in the week, minus 110 pickup. But now we're getting a little bit of plus money at plus 105. And I'm going with Adam, bro. I'm going with the underdog to win this fight. You know, a little bit of bias. You know, he's come on our show years ago. He was one of our first guests we've ever had. This is before he was in the UFC. He had beat Solomon Renfro, and then we got him on there after that. Super cool dude. And what I like about Adam in this fight is that he moved to Arizona and Fight Ready. Crazy good gym, man. Crazy good training partners. His main training partner for this camp was Kevin Gastelum, who also has a fight coming up. And so I think that's great for Adam, right? So he was in Eugene, Oregon, training at a small gym, which, you know, respect and everything. But, like, now that he's finally at I don't say real gym, but like a bigger gym with better training partners, I really expect to see a lot of improvements from Adam. Adam is one of those guys where he's not a specialist in any area, you could say. Even if you ask him, I think that he wouldn't say, you know, he's great at one single area. He's more of a generalist. But, man, what I like about him is that he's fought Muay Thai fights. He's fought kickboxing fights. He's had jiu-jitsu matches. This guy is well-rounded, man, and he's a very good wrestler. We saw him against Kinoshita, you know, use that wrestling and win that fight. He's 1-2 in the UFC. Both these guys, I believe, are 1-2 in the UFC and need this win or else their contract is over. So whoever wins this fight is likely getting re-signed by the UFC, and the other one's probably getting bounced. So a lot of desperation in this fight. My favorite angle for this fight is that it's not going to go the distance, and I bet that line's like minus 500 because I'm expecting a ton of violence in this fight. We're in a small apex cage, and both these guys are fighting for their job. So I just think that Adam can mix in the grappling way more than Josh Quinlan in this fight, and I actually am expecting a lot of improvements. And it's kind of tough when you have a guy that's 35 years old and you're sitting here saying, I expect him to improve at 35 years old, but it's the fact that he went down to Arizona, he put his last dollar, you know, in that training camp, he moved. I mean, this guy's going all in. There's no more being all in than Adam Fugitt is for this fight camp, man. He needs to win this fight. I'm rooting for him to win this fight. And he's looked good against high-level guys. And Michael Morales, he looked decent enough. Like, everyone thought he was going to get crushed. Yes, he had moments in that fight where he looked good. Against the Canadian kid, ended up being kind of a fraud, Mike Malott. Even that fight, he was doing good. I actually think that Mike Malott expected that fight to be way easier after the fight, you know, ends. He's talking about how good Adam Fugitt was. And against Kinoshita, a guy that everyone thought was going to be a really good prospect, he ends up beating him. So Man, give me Adam Fugitt to win this fight, man. He's preparing well, good gym, good coaches. I'm expecting a lot from Adam. Give me Adam to win this fight, and I don't know if I'm gonna be betting him, but it's enticing. So give me Adam Fugitt to win that fight. I'm actually gonna go with a 3rd round submission. And up next, we can keep this one quick. We have a flyweight fight between Jimmy the Brick Flick, shout out, and Nate Maness, man. Jimmy the Brick Flick comes in with a 17-7 record, currently plus 350 on the money line, while Nate Maness comes in at minus 500. He has a 15-3 record. And so what's crazy about this fight is that Nate Maness is absolutely giant for this division. He is huge. When he cuts weight, man, he was on that scale. He looks like insane. It's crazy this guy makes weight, but he is big, right? And then Jimmy Flick, guys, he is submission or bust. I hate these type of fighters, man. Jimmy's a good guy, man. He's in the group chat that I was in. He's one of my favorite fighters for the sense that on Dana White Contender Series, right before he went on, because they always do like a little like clip of them, a video of them before they take the octagon, and you know. And he was like calling himself the White Habib. I'll never forget that. I busted out laughing in that when he said that. And then he went out there and submitted the guy. So and like just took him down over and over again. Took him down, got up, took him back down, got up, took him back down. He's very much so a grappler, right? On the feet, absolutely non-existent, right? Like Nate Maness is gonna crack Jimmy Flick the very first punch he throws. And he's probably going to finish him in that first round. So to me, Nate Maness via knockout, first round. Jimmy Flick has to throw up something crazy off his back to win this fight. And I just don't think that's going to happen. Give me Nate Maness. Everyone's parlaying him, and I actually do agree with that. Give me Nate Maness to win that fight. Jimmy just can't take damage well. This guy's retired, took 2 years off and came back. And he actually retired after a win, man. He beat Cody Durden via submission, who's that aged incredibly well. Cody Durden's like on a run right now, and he's a very good grappler. So to submit him, I know it was a flying triangle, but still, it was a very impressive win. To see him retire right after, I was like kind of bummed. I was like, man, like I like Jimmy Flick. I was excited to see him, make a run in the UFC, and he retired. So now he's back. Got a few fights since then, but I just don't think he's all there, man. Like, no offense, like I love Jimmy Flick, but I really do worry for his striking defense in this fight. Nate Maness just tall and long, gonna crack him, and Jimmy has to get this fight down, and I just don't think he's going to. So give me Nate Maness, first round knockout. I'm expecting a ton of violence. I think both those last two fights are going to not need the judges, and so we're going to see someone get slept. So give me Nate Maness, first round knockout. Ooh, and another fight that maybe or maybe not needs the judges. So we have a flyweight fight between Tagir Ulanbekov and Joshua Van. Ulanbekov comes in with a 15-2 record, currently minus 225 on the money line, while Joshua Van comes in with a 10-1 record, currently plus 185 on the money line. And so when I saw this fight, well, first of all, you guys have to know, I don't know if like a lot of you guys follow the UFC as much as I do and stuff, but Joshua Van and Tatsuro Taira were supposed to be the main event of this card, right? Two crazy good prospects, the best prospects in the fight division, I'll be honest, were matched to headline this card, right? And I feel like, was it 4 or 5 weeks out from the card, the UFC scrapped that. They said, no, actually, we're going to rip this fight apart, and we're going to give you guys new opponents on that same card. And so for Joshua, he went from going against Tatsuro Taira, who's in the main event, to Tagir Ulanbekov. And Tatsuro Taira went from fighting Joshua Van to Alex Perez. So they mixed it up. So Tagir was supposed to fight Alex, and so they kind of traded all around, and now this is the fight we have. So kind of a weird thing, like kind of a weird circumstance to get here. And when I saw that this fight was going to happen, I actually expected this line to be way closer, guys. When I saw Tagir at minus 220, I was like, what the hell? Like, what's the fuck? Like, what the hell? Joshua's good, bro. Like, Joshua can strike. This dude rips to the body. This guy is very good forward pressure, and he can crack, man. This guy's very sophisticated on the feet. But then, guys, if you look more into it, Tagir is going to choke this guy. Tagir is going to snatch up his neck and submit this guy at some point during this fight. And if he doesn't, I feel like he's going to get knocked out in that third round. Joshua Van has a really bad habit, guys, of doing a Cheeto Vera and low-key kind of a Peter Yan and losing that first round. He's lost every single first round in the UFC so far. It's kind of crazy against guys, in my opinion, that he's better than. And Tagir is by far, guys, the best grappler that he will ever have faced so far in his career. And Tagir against Joshua is going to have the worst grappler he's fought in the UFC so far. So Tagir has a loss in the UFC, and he should have won against Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott was cheating so much in that fight, grabbing the gloves, grabbing the shorts, grabbing the cage, just cheating to get his win, which, like, respect, bro. You need to get your win. But, like, Tagir definitely should be undefeated in the UFC. And I feel like he gets a lot of hate because he comes from the Habib camp. He's Habib's cousin, trains with all the Dagestanis, trains with Makhachev, trains with Usman and Umar and all those guys. And he's definitely the one to the group, man. He's definitely one of the worst ones. Him and Abu Bakr are the worst guys in that gym, on that team in general. But that doesn't mean he's like a bad fighter, guys. He's a very good grappler. And I just feel like if he gets Joshua Van down, he's gonna choke him, man. I really think he's gonna pass his guard and get to that neck. And it doesn't even have to be an open takedown, like in the open mat. Like, I feel like he can get him in the clinch along the cage and get a trip from there. And that's, I think, what's gonna happen. I think that Tagir gets him in the clinch, gets him down with the trip, and then from there really works him. So I like Tagir in this fight. I like him a lot. When I looked more into it, I just don't think that Joshua's been tested by a grappler like Tagir, and I think that Tagir is finally getting a break from really good defensive grapplers. So give me Tagir to snatch up this neck. And like I said earlier in the breakdown, I was surprised at this line, but once you look more into it, it makes sense. But man, that's a little bit wide. I would rather go submission here. It's just a tricky thing. Like I mention it all the time with method of victories. Like when you're grappling someone and let's say you have them back mounted, flattened out, like there's nothing really stopping them from either going and getting that neck, rear naked choking them, or just pounding them out, having the ref pull them off. So like a TKO finish isn't like that crazy for Tagir Ulanbekov in this fight, because if he gets him in a compromised position, he's just gonna pound him out until the ref pulls him off. So give me Tagir to get to this guy's back, snatch up a neck, and get a submission. So give me Tagir, round 2 submission. That one's a banger though, dude. That one's such a good fight. And so was this one, dude. So man, this card really picks up. So we have a bantamweight fight between Brady Hiestand and Garret Armfield. Brady comes in with an 8-2 record, currently plus 155, and Garret Armfield comes in with a 10-3 record, currently minus 185. Now at minus 170, earlier in the week, Garret Armfield was minus 170, and so now a little bit of movement, a little bit of money coming in, trickling in on Garret Armfield, pushing him to minus 185. I wonder if we're going to get to minus 200 before the fight starts, because Brady has a path to win this fight, guys. The underdog at plus 155 has a chance to win this fight. He has really good wrestling, man. Really good racing, really good pace, really good cardio, really good heart. Brady's a dog, guys. Brady is a dog. Brady's the type of guy you want to bet on. I actually bet against him in his last fight, and we were cruising, looking good. First 2 rounds went to the other guy, the guy we bet on, and Brady ends up finishing the guy in that 3rd round, makes the other guy quit, breaks him in that fight, just shooting relentlessly, has blood all over his face. It was a crazy performance from Brady. Guys, don't get it twisted. That was a come from behind win for Brady. Brady, that's where his deficiencies come in. For as much as he's good at wrestling, man, on the feet, he's just not the best, man. One thing I do like from Brady is he has a really sneaky high head kick with that lead leg. That left leg, boom, he can get up to that chin actually relatively quick, man. That's actually really impressive. But on the feet, man, his guard is getting split all the time. And Garret Armfield has really good, really crisp boxing, guys. But there's just no way Garret Armfield and his gym don't know that Brady's going to be shooting this whole entire fight. They know that Brady might as well walk in with those funny furry hats, because he's going to want to wrestle Garret Armfield. There's no chance that Brady's going to win this fight if it's a 15-minute striking fight. His best chance is to have a close round, boom, take the round at the end, to get that takedown and secure that round at the end of the round, or try to get a takedown early and really work Garret from there. I mean, in Garrett's last fight against Brad Katona didn't really use the grappling as much as we thought until later in the fight. And he actually did get Garret Armfield down a few times. And I feel like Brady Hiestand way more of an aggressive chain wrestler than Brad Katona. Man, I'm going with Garret Armfield. I missed the line. At minus 170, I was contemplating putting 3.5 units to win 2 on Garret Armfield. But I'm not doing it, man. I hate to, like, when I bet, guys, I want to tell myself, okay, how does this lose? Like, how does the other guy have a path? Does he have a path? How likely is that path to happen? And bro, if you can't defend a takedown, you can't defend a takedown. I don't care who you are. Like Brady Hiestand, he could be rocked all over the place, his chin getting cracked all over the place, and desperately still get a takedown. If Brady locks his hands on Garret, I really struggle to see Garret getting away. I don't think he's going to hit a switch. I don't think he's going to reverse or get a sweep. I feel like Brady's, the better wrestler in this fight with more like pace, with more relentlessness to get those takedowns. Like this guy is desperately trying to get the fight down. He's probably going to win 2 rounds. So, man, it's tough. We're getting close to minus 200 on Garret Armfield, and it's asking a lot. So I am picking Garret Armfield. I do think he's going to win that fight. I think he's going to win a 3-round decision or knock out Brady, because I do like the boxing from Garret. He's really quick. Man, like this can get interesting, guys. This can get really interesting. Brady's going to have to wrestle 100%. If he has no success wrestling, he has no chance in this fight. So give me Garret Armfield to win that fight via decision or a 3rd-round finish. And up next, we have a one-way traffic type fight. We have a flyweight fight between Almabaev and Jose Johnson. Almabaev comes in with a 19-2 record, currently minus 650. I want to say the biggest favorite on the card, but he's actually not. Minus 650 on the money line against Jose Johnson, who comes in with a 16-8 record, currently plus 425 on the money line. And if you look right here on the screen, guys, Almabaev is 5'4". Jose Johnson is 6 foot tall, guys. I don't know if you know this, but flyweight is 125. Like, these guys have to weigh 125 pounds on weigh-in day, and this guy is 6 feet tall. Absolutely mind-blowing, right? So I'm going to steal a quote from John Anik, the famous John Anik, the GOAT. And he said many years ago on his podcast that no grown man should weigh 125. I don't care who you are, how short you are. No grown man should weigh 125. So for that reason, I'm going to pick Almabaev. Now, I'm joking, but for real, I am picking Almabaev. No, obviously, not breaking any news here. Minus 650, of course, I'm picking him to win this fight. But Jose is dangerous, guys. Like, Jose, if I expect him to make the weight, and if he makes the weight, man, like those knees up the middle, those strikes down the pipe are worrisome, man. This guy is dangerous, 100% dangerous on the feet for as long as it gets there. But I really struggle to see a world where Asu just doesn't level change and get this guy down and get to his hips or even get a single leg. So Almabaev is going to be like a dog on a bone trying to get this guy down, and he's going to teeter-totter and put him off balance and get him down, man. Almabaev, like, he's going to out-wrestle this guy. He's going to get him down. He's going to maul him. So you have to go inside the distance. And if you want to get lucky or tricky or you really want to risk it and gamble, knockout or submission, because like I said earlier in the breakdown, it's really like the swaying, the chances of it happening are not that high. So, like, there's nothing really stopping him from getting a ground pound finishing or a submission or just controlling him for 3 rounds, not being able to finish him and getting a decision. But I do think that he will be able to finish this fight. I do think he's going to be able to sub Jose Johnson, but man, he is dangerous. Jose Johnson's a tall, lanky guy, and it's going to be interesting to see them grapple on the ground because these are 2 completely different body frames. So give me Almabaev to win that fight via submission. But if you're laying minus 650 in this fight for as long as it is on the feet, man, you're going to have a tight butthole, man. You're going to be sweating like crazy because Jose Johnson's tall and long. He's going to be able to reach him and slap him in the face from across the octagon in the small apex cage at 6 feet tall at flyweight. Are you kidding me? Yeah, man, give me Almabaev to win that fight, choke him out in that first round. Crazy, though. Crazy 6 foot tall flyweight. That's wild. But yeah, man, up next in the bantamweight division, we have Douglas Silva de Andrade and Miles Johns. Andrade comes in with a 29-5 record, currently plus 110 on the money line. Miles John comes in with a 14-2 record, currently minus 130. And I'm going with the underdog in this fight. I'm going with Douglas Silva de Andrade to win this fight. I just never been impressed with Miles John. I just don't really see how he's that good. And Andrade, the only thing that I don't like in this fight is going to be 39 years old like soon. Like, that is super bad in my opinion for bantamweight. That's a ton of weight cuts on your body, and this guy is also jacked. This guy reminds me of Shayilan Nuerdanbieke, just stacked, right? Like, this dude, like, it has nothing to lose, no fat on his body, like crazy, right? But he can crack. Very powerful striking, good offensive wrestling and defensive grappling. I don't expect Miles Johns to go out there and take down and pin Andrade. If Miles Johns chooses to wrestle in this fight, I think that Andrade has the capability and skill set to get up, man. I feel like he's going to be able to get to his hip and get up. Miles John does have good wrestling, good ability to mix up his strikes with his wrestling, really get your hands up high, get your guard up, and then shoot for those hips. And he did look good against Cody Stamen. I'll give him that. But, man, I like the power from Andrade. I feel like the striking is pretty much 50-50 with the power going to Andrade. I expect Miles John to be the one going forward, pushing the pace with more volume and output in this fight. 30-year-old versus a 38-year-old, always tough to go with the older guy here in this fight, but I'm going with the underdog. Give me Andrade to win this fight. I think it's going to be a 3-round decision. I think that he lands the harder shots. I think that he gets up if he does get taken down. I'm going with Andrade. I don't know if I'm going to be betting it, but, man, never been that impressed with Miles Johns. If you win this fight, good for him. You know, no need to get super invested in this fight if you don't have a really strong angle, and I don't. So give me Andrade to win that fight via decision. Oh, yeah, and up next, we have a featherweight fight between Timmy Kuwamba and Lucas Almeida. Kuwamba comes in with an 8-2 record, currently minus 195, and Lucas Almeida comes in with a 14-3 record, currently plus 165. So, real quick story. I like to go to the regional fights here in Vegas, and the promotion here is called Tough Enough. You've seen a few of these guys, like Josh Quinlan was on Tough Enough. He's on this card as well. And Timmy Kuwamba was on a card, and I had no idea. Like, I watched this guy fight, and I had no idea. Like, now that he's in the UFC, I was like, oh yeah, that was that one guy. So I saw his head kick knockout where, watching it live, I didn't think it landed. Like, it was a weird angle, and I thought the guy blocked it like with his shoulder, and ended up like catching him on the neck/chin, and obviously made a sick knockout and like went crazy, right? I'll be honest, there's a few guys on that card that I thought were better than him, and then not in the UFC, which is kind of weird. But yeah, so I've definitely seen this guy fight before. Good speed, very good striker. Obviously very good head kick. He finished the dude, and kind of insane finish. But man, minus 200, I don't see it. I disagree, guys. How is he minus 200? Where does he separate himself in this fight? Is it the wrestling? Is it because Lucas Almeida has no strike or no takedown defense and he can get pinned down? But that's not how Kuwamba fights. Kuwamba wants to strike, man. Like, yeah, if he does want to mix in the takedowns, that's to his benefit. I do think that he's a better grappler in this fight than Lucas Almeida. But man, Lucas Almeida is going to be the bigger guy in this fight, the taller, longer guy in this fight. And he has very good output as well. This guy's going to be going forward, pushing the pace, and looking to strike with Timmy Kuwamba. And like I said earlier in the card, I forget which fight it was, but in this fight, I'm super excited to see who takes the center. So, like, you know how they say, you ready to fight? You ready to fight? Go. Like, I want to see those first 30 seconds. I want to see who's the first fighter to take that back step and be the one going off their back foot, because, like, I feel like the one going forward is going to have a big-time advantage. I don't think that Timmy Kuwamba is as good of a fighter off his back foot, especially with a taller, long guy and Lucas Almeida in his face. Man, as long as Lucas Almeida doesn't get knocked out or taken down and mauled multiple times in this round or in this fight, I don't see how he's plus 165. I don't see how Timmy Kwamba is minus 200 unless he gets a knockout finish. So, and I just don't think he has enough output to do that. So give me Lucas Almeida to win that fight. Actually, a lot of underdogs on this card, guys. So give me Lucas Almeida, the Brazilian, to pull the upset here in the small apex cage. But I know, like, Timmy Kwamba minus 200. I just know that I don't agree with that. Who knows? Maybe Timmy goes out there first round knockout and, you know, looks like $1 million. And I'll be happy to have passed on the fight, but I think that line's off, man. Give me Lucas Almeida to win that fight. I think he's going to win a decision. I think he's going to win a 3-round decision in that fight. Wouldn't be shocked to see him get slipped, though. So give me Lucas Almeida to win that fight via decision. And up next, what is that picture? We have a middleweight fight between Ikram Alexkirov and Antonio Tricali. Alexkirov comes in as the biggest favorite on the card at minus 1,500. You have to lay $1,500 on him to win to collect $100. Absolutely hilarious. And Antonio Tricali comes in at plus 750. So when I saw this, I was like, who the hell is this guy? Like, who is this? Why is he plus 750? Why is he on the card? Why is he a co-main event? And sure enough, he hasn't fought in like 4 years. He has 1 win in the last 7 years. Pretty big guy, and that's another weird thing with this fight. So he's gotten caught for steroids. He was on Dana White Contender Series, won the fight, got submitted the dude, but then popped for steroids, so they didn't give him a contract, tested positive. I don't know what the steroid was or any scientific stuff like that, but I definitely know he tested positive. And he's been going up and down. I've seen this guy fight at 205, 170, and now he's at 185. So I don't even know what the real frame for this guy is, what it looks like when he's natural. But as far as the skill set, man, Ikram is like way better than this dude. Ikram was supposed to fight guys like Paulo Costa. Like they had this guy booked on the pay-per-view to fight Paulo Costa, and Paulo Costa pulled out. Like the UFC's high on this guy, and it's because he's a savage, man. Very good boxer, very good wrestler with good judo, man. This dude can toss you in the sky with the Uchimata and really ground and pound you. Like I'm actually more impressed, like, you know, like with his striking. I expected him to go in the UFC and just take guys down and maul them. But he can hold his own on his feet. Yes, his one loss was to Khamzat Chimaev, where he got his head uppercutted like a meme. It was actually an insane finish. If you want to go see Ikram's only loss, you're gonna laugh when you see him get knocked out. But that's the only guy that's beaten him is Khamzat Chimaev. And come on, like Khamzat Chimaev is nowhere near the level of Antonio Tricali. Tricali is definitely gonna have to grapple in this fight. I don't think he's gonna be wanting to spend this fight at range. Ikram is quick, man. And I think that he's going to be able to mix in the striking, get this guy down, get to his hips. But the size advantage is significant here. Antonio's going to be 6'5" in this fight, guys. A 5-foot height advantage in this fight and a 6-inch reach advantage going towards Tricali, the underdog here. At plus 750, there's worse guys to bet on than 750. So, I mean, I don't see how Ikram doesn't win this fight and not finish this fight. But, man, minus 1,500, there's just no point. Like, there's no point to bet this fight at all on the money line. Don't parlay him, please. Do not parlay Alex Perez. I know he's probably going to win, but you guys, you're not doing anything for your parlay at minus 1,500. Just pass. Just watch this as a fan. Absolutely no idea how this is a co-main event. And also, this dude is the guy that Mackenzie Dern cheated on her husband with, and then now they broke up. So this dude fumbled the bag with Mackenzie Dern, so who knows where his head's at. Give me Alex Perez to win that fight via submission or ground hand finish in that first round. Up next is the main event, guys. And if you haven't already, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what so far you think about my bets. I've been seeing the board good. I feel like I've been seeing these fights good. Let me know if you disagree or you agree. So in the main event, we have Alex Perez versus Tatsuro Taira. Perez comes in with a 25-8 record, currently plus 165 on the money line, and Tatsuro Taira comes in with a 15-0 record, undefeated blue chip prospect. This guy looks like he's the truth. And he's minus 195 on the money line, almost a minus 200 favorite. And I'm going with the underdog here. I'm going with Alex Perez. I don't know if I'm going to be betting it here because it is tough to get in front of the prospect here, the undefeated 15-0 kid who's a very good jiu-jitsu artist. This guy can sub a lot of fighters in the UFC, man. This guy's grappling is legit. It's top level. But that's what it's kind of interesting to me in this fight. Tatsuro Taira, for as good as his grappling is, like his takedown entries and his takedown finishing ability isn't the best. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, you see it a lot. Jiu-jitsu guys that don't have the best wrestling, like they spend so much time perfecting their jiu-jitsu off their back, or, you know, obviously on top of someone, that they don't work as much as they should on getting the fight in that area. They don't have good enough judo. They don't have good enough wrestling to get guys down consistently. And we just saw Alex Perez against a very good wrestler in Muhammad Mokaev. Muhammad Mokaev is one of the best wrestlers in the flyweight division, and he wasn't able to submit Perez. Yes, he was able to get him down and then win a decision that way, but it was a lot of nut hugging, crotch sniffing, just overall bad look. And it was actually so bad that Mokaev won that fight, and the UFC said, you know what, that sucked. We're actually going to give it the title shot to Steve Erceg. So even though Mokaev won and was supposed to get a title shot, like they were like, no, that was boring. That was sucked. That fight sucked. All he did was sniff his nuts the whole fight, trying to get takedowns. And then so they gave it to Steve Erceg. So Yeah, Alex Perez coming off a fight where he just faced a pure one-dimensional grappler is getting a guy in Tatsuro Taira who his best area is the grappling. I don't think that he can hang with Perez on the feet. Perez has very sharp, very heavy leg kicks with good hands and good punching. We just saw him finish Mateus Nicolau, who's a very good fighter in my opinion, brutally. Perez got a brutal knockout finish in his last fight. And what's crazy about this fight is this is his third weight cut in the last year. So this guy, Perez, is actually famous for dropping out of fights, pulling out, missing weight, pulling out, not pulling out, but then missing weight. Like, this guy has a terrible record on the scale, right? So to see him make weight twice in a row now, going for 3 in a row, it's very impressive because it tells me, okay, he's taking it serious. Like, I don't know what was going on earlier in his career, but now he seems to be on track. And Tatsuro Taira, like I said, he's just so dependent on out grappling and choking people. I just don't think that for 25 minutes he's going to be able to hang with Alex Perez. I think that Alex Perez is a better striker with good enough defensive grappling to keep this fight upright and get up if he does get taken down. Like I said, we just saw him get taken down a bunch of times against Almabaev, who wasn't able to submit him. So if Tatsuro Taira does get Perez down and submits him, man, holy smokes, this guy is going to the top. This guy is a legit prospect, but I just think this is a little bit too early in his career. Perez has high-level experience, man, and the guys that are submitting him, like Pantoja and Figueiredo, are champions. So do I think that Taira could be a champion? Absolutely. Do I think that he currently is a level of a champion? No, actually. So give me Perez to win that fight at plus 165. I don't get it. How is Tatsuro Taira minus 200? What has he done against people in the UFC as good as Alex Perez to prove that he's minus 200? I feel like you're betting on a potential, really. Like, you're betting that this kid's going to be continuing to ascend in the UFC, where Alex Perez has been there, done that, man. So give me Alex Perez, the veteran, to win this fight at plus 165. I think he wins a decision or gets a late finish on Taira, man. It's just about protecting your neck, not getting choked out, which is going to be hard to do. But give me Alex Perez, the underdog, to win that fight, man. So that'll do it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We're on a little bit of a run, man. We just won some money last week. We're looking to make it 3 winning weeks in a row and 5 out of the last 6. So we had a rough start to the year, but we're looking good. So, man, the last 2 months have been really good to us, and we're looking to keep it going. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's go Panthers. We need 2 more games to win the Stanley Cup. $500 on them at minus 130. Make sure you watch our videos on the hockey on the channel where we talked about how we were going to bet them against the Oilers. So like I said, they're up 2-0, 2 more games. Game 4 is in Edmonton tomorrow, and hopefully they can take that and make it 3-0. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.